Welcome everybody to Let's Talk Racing. We already have David Levine. Is it Levine?
Levine.
Levine. I was right the first time. Damn it. Second guessing myself. How you doing tonight, David?
Good, how are you?
Hanging in there. Gonna do a little talking of racing. Hope somebody probably finally calling me back and said, "Oh yeah, I want to be on."
Yeah, I've been under the weather the past couple days, and now it's finally starting to feel a heck of a lot better just in time for the ARCA race this weekend.
What'd you have?
I don't really know. I was stuffed up, sore throat, lost my voice for a couple days, and all of a sudden woke up the next morning perfectly fine. I'm like, all right, well, that was weird.
Yeah, you never answered me the question I shoot you. How many people sat there and said silence is golden when you couldn't talk?
A couple people.
Ooh, bad guys, bad guys.
Yeah, a couple people.
But anyway, go ahead and kick out a little short bio about yourself so the people that are watching can learn something about you.
Yeah, sure. I'm David Levine from Highland Park, Illinois, which is about halfway between Chicago and Milwaukee. This year I've been competing with Lyra Motorsports in the ARCA Racing Series. So it's my first full-time campaign in the series, and so far it's been a heck of a lot of fun. But for those of you who don't know who I am, just graduated from Furman University in Greenville, South Carolina. It was a lot of fun and super. It's kind of nice to be able to dedicate all my energy and focus everything towards racing. But the real reason that I'm racing, apart from it being fun, is to try to promote awareness to the American Heart Association for everything that they have done for me. A lot of people who follow my racing know that I was born with a very, very rare heart defect, and without the research done by the American Heart Association, I probably would not have made it past my first birthday. So I try to, every single race weekend, I try to promote the Heart Association as much as I can as my way to give back to the organization that helped save my life. And so far, we've been able to raise and donate a lot of money to the American Heart Association over the past couple of years, and it's just been really great for me to be able to work with them and promote their cause. Good
deal. Well, if you want to know something, I actually went and had an EKG the other day.
That's cool. Yeah, I got to go about every 3 years for a checkup to make sure that nothing is abnormal. But so far so good, and the best thing about it is I'm cleared to do pretty much everything except scuba diving, which is a little bit depressing, but oh well.
Depressing, compressing, it's one of the things. Yeah, because when I was very, very young, I actually had a heart murmur, and I was lucky that as I got older and got more athletic, that it eventually went away. So. Yeah,
at first the doctors kind of thought like I was just originally the doctors thought I only had a hole in my heart. And when they realized it was too big and wasn't going to close itself, they decided, all right, we've got to go in and operate. And when they went to close the hole, they realized that one of the muscles from the valves had actually grown through the hole and attached itself to the other side of the heart, which obviously is not right. So they had to fix that. And to this day, I still have a very, very, very tiny murmur. And it's kind of funny, every time I go for a checkup, all the doctors bring the interns and say, can you hear anything funny? And all the interns say no, and then the doctors tell them to look for it. And they're like, oh yeah, murmur.
Well, at least it's doing a lot better than it was, and everything that allows you to be able to do your favorite sport of racing.
Oh yeah, it's ever since the surgery when I was 4 months old, I've been completely fine ever since.
Collin can tell you more about that.
Oh yeah. Hey, David, it's Collin Brown. I kind of actually had a little bit of a similar situation where I was born actually with congenital heart disease, and I went through 3 open heart surgeries.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely nice too when I hear about other drivers, crew members, team owners, anyone in the racing industry who have similar stories, conditions to me. It's always cool to meet and talk with other people and to share our stories and stuff like that.
Cool beans. So what's your next race you got to be running at?
next weekend, or actually this coming weekend, we're going to be in with the ARCA Racing Series at Iowa Speedway for their race out there.
For some reason, when I talk to people that are trying to come up, they're always trying to target Iowa to go out and try racing in the ARCA series. You know, these are people that are in like the regular Saturday night races, whether it's in a late model or somebody that's doing a little dirt racing in a late model in dirt or super modified in dirt, things like that. Why is it? Is Iowa an easy track, or is it just draws that much attention?
I think part of this weekend drawing attention is the ARCA Racing Series is there with IndyCar, and obviously IndyCar is massive. And for me, being a driver, I'm gonna stay late and watch the IndyCar race because I'm just a race fan, and I think that's really cool. But there's definitely a lot of added exposures being there with IndyCar this weekend, and I've never been to the track, but talking with guys that have been there, being a 7/8 mile oval, I guess it's kind of similar to a lot of the other stuff that a lot of circle track guys grow up with, and it allows them to showcase their skills on a track that's similar to what they've done before, so it's not like throwing them a really big curveball, which is, I guess, helpful for trying to hit it big and make it into the next step. So
who are you talking with in the series that's going to help you out with Iowa?
A lot of the guys around the series have been real helpful for me in my rookie year. Will and Frank Kimmel have always been real good friends to me ever since I started racing the ARCA series occasionally 2 years ago. They definitely came over to me and they started talking. The Kimmels, Bill included, the whole Kimmel family has been real helpful to me. And Billy Benarini, being from Chicago, is always, we have a little Chicago hometown family connection rivalry, and it's kind of nice to talk with them, and it's just been real helpful. And Tommy Hesser, too, has been a real great friend and helpful guy out there for me, too, this year.
Have you talked to Grant Enfinger at all?
Yep. Grant Enfinger and I have definitely been talking a little bit, too. My crew chief this year was his crew chief a couple years back, so we definitely have a little friendly competition there going, too. I got to get my crew chief some wins before he was able to get him some.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I'm going to be talking to Grant here toward the end of the show here tonight.
Yeah, make sure that me and Sam say hi to him.
No problem. I've already wrote it down on my thing here. I'm going to find out a little bit about the rivalry and see what he says.
Yeah.
Got any good tales to tell on him?
Not really. He said I don't really have any good ones. I'm sure my crew chief Sam and our competition director Teddy have got some good stuff on. I could give you their number for a later show if you want to figure out some stuff.
All right, I can get that from you later on. Now, do you have some questions?
I do.
Oh, he's
right.
Colin's got a couple of pop-up questions here for you.
So what racing skills have you learned from racing on road courses that you have been able to transfer over to ARCA?
Yeah, coming last year from the IMSA Continental Tire Challenges, I would have expected the jump to be a lot harder than it was, but the road racing, it definitely teaches you patience. But the biggest thing that I've learned, been able to take from Continental Tire to the ARCA Racing Series this year has been conserving the tires and conserving your stuff to the end of the race. 'Cause these races are generally anywhere from 100 to 200 laps, and you can't go out and run qualifiers every single lap, otherwise you'll burn your stuff off in 20 laps. And usually we can make a tire run 50, 60, 70 laps. So if you're hurting for 50 laps, you've shot yourself in the foot, and there's no really recovering from that. So, and especially for me, racing last season in a Mustang, which was one of the heaviest cars in the field, it was not the best handling cars in the field either. It definitely taught me that if you can conserve your tires and conserve your brakes till the end of the race, you'll definitely have a pretty good weapon at the end of the race.
What made you switch from sports car racing to stock car racing?
I've always had my eye excuse me, I've always had my eye on NASCAR racing, and it was the first racing that I watched on TV. And when I got the opportunity from with Lear Motorsports this year, they said, "Hey, come to the ARCA Racing Series with us," and I definitely couldn't say no to that opportunity. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to step into NASCAR. So, and ARCA, as I'm sure many people know, is one of the natural stepping stones into NASCAR, and it's just been a blast this year.
And how did you get started in sports car racing?
A couple years back, maybe 10 years ago, I started go-karting at a local go-kart track up in Chicago. And from there, I went to the Skip Barber School in Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, Sebring, Road Atlanta, a couple places like that. And I tried the MX-5s out and had a heck of a good time in those. Just great cars, they teach you car control. There's not a lot of power, so you definitely have to learn sports car racing in one of the best platforms out there. And from there, I jumped into the, at the time, Grand Am Continental Fire Challenge with Bimmerworld. Went from Bimmerworld to Racer's Edge with their Mustangs, and then from there, I guess it's history.
Did you run out of your list already?
Yeah.
That was quick. You figured out talking all this time? I tell you. David, when you guys are doing autograph sessions,
Yep.
This is one of my little mini favorite questions to ask. A fan comes up, goes to get your autograph. What would they have to do to make it memorable enough so that even if a year went by and you came back to the same track, you would remember that fan?
Oh, wow, that's a good one. Oh, wow. I gotta think of that.
That'll make it easy.
Yeah, it's I guess for me, it's gotta be something stupid. I'll leave it up to your imagination for that, but it's got to be something incredible. For me, it's got to be something stupid and really memorable to get me to remember, hey, this weekend at Iowa last year, a fan did fill in the blank. I'm definitely going to remember that. I guess some of the more memorable things is I didn't know one of my best friends last year was going to come to one of our races, and he shows up and he pulls up his shirt and says, "Hey, one of the other teams has some models over there, and they're signing autographs. Could you sign my chest?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, dude." And it was kind of weird, but kind of funny, and I guess kind of stupid stuff like that will make me remember the autograph sessions the best.
Yeah, some of the guys and some of the drivers I've talked to said that, yeah, if their girl wants their chest autographed, that's something they definitely remember. Something unusual that they bring in to have autographed that you don't normally see. I remember a while back they used to make these polystone race cars for the Cup drivers, and they're like 2 feet long type thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's. I asked a couple of guys about that. They said, yeah, if you brought something like that along, yep, they would definitely remember seeing one of those. So.
Yep. We were at Daytona for the opener last year, and 2 years ago, towards the end of the race, I was in a really good fight with one of the other cars, and we're bump drafting like you do at Daytona, going back and forth, and 2 laps ago, he gave me a pretty good shot getting into turn 1 and had ripped the rear bumper off the car. So going back last year, a fan actually brought the rear bumper and said, "Hey, could you, this was yours last year, could you sign it?" And I thought that was pretty cool. So I was I was just like, all right, really, yeah, I'll sign a bit of a wrecked race car, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what you pick up depending on what the race is. I've been to some charity races and be sitting on one of the inside walls of the track, and somebody will have a wreck and a piece of something will go slapping up against the inner wall there, even though it's way off the racing surface, and pick it up and hang on to it. I've got stuff from Harvick and Stewart, stuff that's come off of their late model cars that they race in some of the charity races that wind up against the walls, stuff like that. So it's interesting what you run across.
Yeah, there's definitely been a couple of years I've done that for sure too. I think it was 2 or 3, maybe even 6 years ago. I went to the Brickyard 400, and there was a wreck, and it was pretty hard, and I guess it knocked some of the concrete off the fence. And I was walking, I was like, oh, that's the part of the wall from Indianapolis. I'll put that. So
there you go.
Part of the brick wall at home.
Yeah, I remember be walking around the outside area where the fans are and everything, and the walk area in front between the fence and the stands, and be sitting there, and all of a sudden a big huge piece of rubber that came off somebody's tire just plop lands right down in front of you, about a 2-inch ball of rubber, you know.
Yeah, for me, I always go, and if we're ever at a race weekend with any division of NASCAR, I'll always go and walk the garages and look for scraps and chunks of rubber and all that stuff, just because it's cool for me, and a lot of the drivers that I've been really big fans of, and I've kind of looked up to them as models or icons for how I drive, and it's always stuff like, oh, I got a piece of Jeff Gordon's car, I got a piece of Mark Martin's car. It's cool stuff like that.
Oh, I tell you what, lug nuts are all over the freaking place.
Oh yeah.
I'll be sitting there with a friend of mine on Jeff Gordon's team, and we've been sitting there talking, and then we'll run through a practice, come back in, they're changing tires in the garage or something, and of course when they pull off the lug nuts they don't reuse them, and he'll bring me over and say, here, you want a few lug nuts? Nice and warm. Anyway, go ahead and go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All right, I was just going to get you to go ahead and do a shout out to your sponsors. We're going to get you out of here, let you get back to healing up even further and getting ready for your race.
Yeah, you got it. Thanks. Before I go, I gotta say a big shout out to everybody at Lyra Motorsports who keeps us going week to week. I know that they've had a couple really long days and some short nights, and I know they've been taking advantage of these couple off weeks to relax. But I gotta really thank them for everything they do. Carlos and Amanda Lyra have been great this whole year, and Sam Strand and Teddy Brown have really been keeping the car under me this whole year. And on the sponsorship side, I gotta say big shout out to Momo. They've been really helping us out with some pretty awesome gear. It's been some of the best gear that I've ever used, and it's just been great. And Track Gear with their cool suit style technology stuff has been real great, keeping us cool in these super hot race cars. And the American Heart Association again for everything that they've done for me. And obviously, I got to say a massive thanks to Ford and Ford Performance for everything that they've done this year. And hopefully, we can go out and get Momo Track Gear Ford out there in the victory lane this weekend.
Sounds good. Well, good luck this weekend, and we'll get you back on here again.
You got it. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Bye-bye. It would have still been right, but I'd rather get to a landline. You ready for this weekend's race?
This weekend? Yeah.
You racing?
No, I'm not. I was going to race Friday, but we got washed out. Last Friday, we ended up getting washed out.
Tina, you there?
I'm here. Hello.
You just listen to us shoot the bull while we're calling you, huh? We have Tina Stull on the line with us. She races in the NHRA. Go ahead and do a quick bio about yourself, Tina. Let everybody know where you started at and how you got to where you're at in the racing career now.
Well, pretty much I started racing, got licensed back in '99, and I've been racing pretty much full-time since 2002. And through the years, I've run everything from Super Comp to Top Dragster, Comp Eliminator, and currently I'm running a Super Comp, which is an 890 index. And not racing as much as I used to, but still getting out to the track and having a blast.
Cool. Now, I know you and I talked quite at length the other night, or was it day, or did it go day to night? I don't remember. That's how much talking we did. But anyway, you guys, granted, I used to race in NASCAR, and you guys are sort of kind of running into almost the same issues in NHRA as they're doing in NASCAR. Too many people are looking at the dollar signs and not looking at trying to keep the fans in the seats.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of gotten, I think, off track. But, hopefully, we've just had a major change here just in the last couple weeks of command. So, hopefully somebody, somebody new will kind of change that. But I think it's really hurting them to where they realize they've tweaked the sport so much that they've taken a lot of what drag racing was all about, and with the intentions of making it more exciting, they've really just kind of bumfuzzled things and made it a lot harder on the teams, and it's hurting it in the long run. People are entertained by kind of unusual things like four-wide racing and some of that stuff, and the countdown and that kind of stuff. But that too becomes boring after a year or two of it, and yet just like our government, it's always hard to go backwards. Nobody ever admits, well, that was a mistake, let's go back to the way we used to do it. It's just like they continue to try to, well, we'll tweak it a little bit more, and that'll fix it.
Oh, you got that right. Now, one of the things I do like about the Dragster type series that you guys are in is the access to the drivers and teams is a lot easier than it is in a lot of the other formats of racing. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, in racing, even the pros are incredibly accessible. I mean, other than a little rope, that's the only thing keeping you, from 5 foot from the car and from the guys working on the car. So it's nice because they can come up and, really see exactly what we're doing. And shoot, and when you get into the semi-pros or even the sportsman pits, they're wide open. You can walk right in, talk to people. I always, let people sit in my car, especially kids, just to get that, get people kind of endeared to the sport, because there are always a lot of people who, it may be their first race and they don't understand it, and just the fact that we get to one-on-one talk to them, explain it and stuff, that's wonderful. It's just, the nature of the fact that we run rounds, we have so much downtime in between. The fans aren't necessarily in the way that they would be in, say, NASCAR.
Now, I was just pointing at Collin here. Collin Brown, he's next to him. He races in Legends Series here in the area. And he's small enough that he could probably fit in your car then. When you said kids.
Right, my car was built for a guy that was about 6'4", 280. So I'm sure he could.
Oh, yeah. I could fit.
The whole idea that, lay back and real narrow and all that kind of went out the window. They found out the aerodynamics in such a short race really didn't matter. So I have to admit, it's incredibly more comfortable than my very first car. The first one was so narrow, I couldn't even buckle my own seatbelts. I had to have somebody buckle me in. So,
goodness.
Hey, if he's good, I'll let him take put it around the parking lot.
Now, other than you, who are some of the good characters to meet up with out at the track?
Oh man, in my series, Clay Malkin, he's incredibly. He runs top fuel, so he's there's a little bit less accessibility, but man, he's so good with the fans. He's always doing meet and greets, and they're always welcome. The Roger Brogdon's team, Erica Anders over at Elite Motorsports, those guys are always really welcoming. Sullivan Motorsports, a lot of the especially in the sportsman pits, you can kind of tell the people, if you park on the end, you want people to come talk to you. If you park in the middle, probably not so much. So it's really just pretty much, they're open. You go stand by, they open into somebody's pit. Most of the time, somebody will come and ask you or start talking to you and see if you have any questions or whatever. Some of the bigger teams, it's probably easier to say who's really less likely to be able to talk to. Might be some of the larger teams that, multi-car teams that are, I guess I won't name names, but you can probably guess.
Now, is John Force as much a character as he used to be?
Oh, yeah. Oh, John's John. I think he's calmed down a little bit.
Only a little bit?
When I first... A little bit. I think having daughters in the, that race, and, I mean, time mellows us all out a little bit, but I'll tell you, if you get him riled up, he can let go with some of his old, his chatterbox interviews. I've seen him pull a couple of those off this year. You get him riled up enough, and let him go. He'll spin like a top. But he's he's been so good for the sport, just in that people can identify with him, and the restraints that sometimes NHRA, everybody play nice, everybody be PC, everybody talk nice, no rivalries. They really kind of poo-pooed that about 10 years ago, and it really kind of hurt the sport. It's not bad to have, a good guy and a bad guy, and guys, I'm sure you have it, and in NASCAR. I mean, I know you have, where it's this team against that team, and they try to kind of make everybody be nice, and it really took a lot of the flavor out. And I think they finally are learning that all of that isn't bad. It may make some of these guys a little bit harder to control, but heck, that's all part of it. And that's part of why people love the sport.
Yeah, John was one of those people, I would say, he's one of those guys you stick a quarter in and he would just go.
One of the first times I ever heard of him was, he hopped out, he had a win, I can't remember if it was even a win for the event, it was quarterfinal or something, and he hopped out and somebody said, well, what'd you think? And he goes, man, that was more fun than sleeping with two ladies at the same time. We're all like going, oh my gosh, he's married, we're thinking, oh John, you're sleeping in the doghouse tonight.
Tell him his two female dogs don't count, okay? That's the only way he'd probably save himself. Collin might have a question or two here for you too.
So, do you feel like that your sport gets enough media coverage, or do you feel overshadowed by NASCAR?
I'm sorry, repeat. You broke up a little bit.
Oh, do you feel like your sport gets enough media coverage, or do you feel overshadowed by NASCAR?
God, we're overshadowed by everything. When it comes to ESPN, the coverage has been so poor, and it's really gone downhill. We're getting bumped for women's volleyball, and it really hurts the sport. NASCAR. The thing is, you can only say you're overshadowed if you step in somebody else's shadow. I don't think that NASCAR has done anything that, or specifically that's pulled anything away from us. I just think we've done a very poor job of promoting our own sport. We've left it up to NHRA has decided they have control over that, and they have, they hand out the interviews and all that kind of stuff to whom they want. And of course, it's the same team week after week after week. And I think if they had a broader exposure of the different drivers, people would relate. It's just like any sport. People relate to different people because we're all different. And when they continually only put up the same four teams, it's gotten to a point where I got fed up last week and just turned it off. We had 3 rounds of qualifying for top fuel, and that's only eight runs, and we're talking 3.5 seconds per run. They somehow cut it back to they only had time to throw three of the 8 passes. So out of 24 passes total, I think they showed 8 or 9. And I'm thinking, wait a second, you got 2 hours, you only have, 24 per team, you only have 75 runs to cover, and you can't squeeze it in. It's just, and of course it was Coletta, it was Forrest, it was, I can't remember who the third person was. But, it's just like they don't even bother to show all the rounds. And to me, that's like a lack of faith in your own drivers, in your own sport, is that if you don't think people find it interesting, it's like, I guess the other example would be when people talk about, NHRA is always talking about the nostalgia days. When you do that, you're sending a message to everybody that the good old days were the best days, and now it's not as good as the good old days. And it's people living in the past and not realizing this sport has way more to offer than it did in the 60s. And it's not like we want to walk away and forget our past, but you can't live in it. You need to go move forward. There used to be a big belief that the only interest was in the cars that went 300 miles an hour. But as you can see, if you watch Discovery or anything, you see that a show like Street Outlaws has 1.5 million viewers. Yeah. And here's your cars, and they don't even tell us. I mean, there's no time that I've ever seen when I watch a show that they never really told us how fast they're going or even how far they're going, because it's obviously on the street, but we all know it's set up, and it's, they have, it's basically a drag race, just not on the track. But the mentality that people are only going to be interested in the cars that go 300, and that's the only value of these events, it just goes to show how wrong they are, because, 1.5 million people are willing to watch it, and only 400,000 people are watching NHRA on Sunday nights.
Yeah, when you were talking about that, I was thinking about it, and I remember that they actually had a 3-hour time slot for it on ESPN. Now, what keeps them from going and talking to some of the other sports networks that are doing a lot of this stuff? I mean, you get some of this stuff like rally cars. I mean, I hate to say this, I don't watch that hardly at all, and I enjoy all sorts of racing. And what's to keep them from going to some of the other places and getting some actual real time put into it?
I really don't know why, because there are so many, like you said, how many channels are sports dedicated channels? That are needing good programming. And here, you look at the average race, and you probably have literally $50 million worth of cars on premises for each one of those races. And you go, with that kind of content and and you got everybody else who's risking their lives, they're paying their own insurance. Why they don't, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. It probably comes down to the fact that somehow NHRA won't make money. They tend to make a lot of their decisions come down to how much goes into their pocket, not necessarily what's good for the sport.
Huh.
I actually heard a little something today that ESPN isn't going to be showing NHRA, and that is going over to Fox networks now.
Well, we've been crying for about 4 or 5 years.
Apparently your crying has worked.
And so I've known that I know last year they were looking at negotiating with somebody else, and for some reason it ended up by still being, I kind of actually thought, because Lucas Oil Family is behind MAV TV, I really honestly figured we'd end up on MAV TV at some point. But, Fox, that would be awesome. I mean, really, anybody coming in can't do any worse than what we've been getting.
Yeah, it sounded like, I think it happened today that they announced they're switching over to Fox Sports 1.
Well, I hope I get that.
Yeah, that's the bad part. Well, you can always stream it online, too, if I remember correctly.
Well, you know what, you can listen to it online. I don't know if they have an audio. I mean, I've always said I would rather than the coverage that they've had, the way they film the races, you can't tell who's ahead or who's behind because of the angle of, the way that they film it.
Yeah.
I would much rather watch a live stream from the tower than, all this, camera work. It's because you can actually see who's ahead. You've got, whatever. But they insist on trying to do this high, I don't know. It's kind of like, if you can't fix it, stop bitching. But it's, when they show, I always tell people, I go, the problem is, it's like watching the Super Bowl on Monday. That was my biggest gripe, is that they don't show it live. And they've changed a lot of the rules. They sped up the teams. They used to have 90 minutes between rounds, and they moved up to 75, and then they started cutting out, sportsmen don't race on Sundays because it interferes with the length of the event, and they want to do live. And so they've made a huge amount of things that really kind of piss us off. Cut back our number of qualifying passes and all that to condense the event for TV coverage, and then we never had the coverage. But we still had all the cuts, so it's kind of like, and then the coup de grace is that you don't get to see race day until 10 o'clock at night or 11 o'clock at night if it gets bumped. And it's like, man, we've all anybody who's in it has been listening to it on the radio, already knows who's won.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, watching the Super Bowl on Monday. That's why nobody DVRs the Super Bowl, because once you know who wins, really, what is there to watch?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you get going.
Okay.
Let you go ahead and thank your sponsors. And one of the nice things, too, I like about NHRA, they're not having issues with as much with the women racing as NASCAR seems to have.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they can't keep us out.
Go ahead and give a shout out
to big thanks to Champion Spark Plugs. They've been helping me this year. Sullivan Motorsports does all my transmissions, all that kind of work. Self Racing Engines up in Oklahoma, refreshes my engine, does all the building on that. Without these guys, I wouldn't be at the track. Looking forward to announcing some new sponsorships, hopefully in the next 2 months. So, but I appreciate you letting me come on and chatter my brain out, and hope to come back sometime.
All right, Tina, we'll definitely get you back on here. Maybe put you on the last time slot. That way you can just keep on getting it.
I know, I'm a chatterbox.
Oh, I love it. All right, young lady, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, you have a good day.
You too, Tina.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Steven, how you doing?
Good, bud. How are you?
All right. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the watchers and give a quick bio about yourself, how you got into racing, and what you're at now and what you're hoping to do.
My name is Steven Leicht. I've been racing since I was about 5, 6 years old. Started out in go-karts and champ karts pretty much like anybody else. And worked my way up through the circuits, ASA and USARA, a bunch of circuits growing up, and made it to NASCAR when I was 18 years old. Raced 2 full-time seasons in NASCAR when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, and been part-time in NASCAR since, just searching for sponsorship, and currently running full-time in the new Cars Racing Tour series that just started this year with Stephen Wallace and a handful of other guys that most people know, Bay Rogers, a bunch of guys, and just trying to stay busy, keep racing, and keep my head up, hopefully get another full-time sponsorship for NASCAR before long, and whatever comes, man.
Yeah, I tell you what, I wish there was some way out there that somebody had really big, deep pockets and all these really good drivers. Put them out there and let them race. Just let them have fun doing it. Don't have to worry about competing for dollars. Get out there and put them all in good equipment and just let them go at it and have fun.
Yeah, I tell you, the sport's changed a lot. When I first came on the scene, when I was 18, 19 years old, back in 2005, 2006, that was about the time that, the era of NASCAR really started to change as far as sponsorship goes. Before, growing up, NASCAR was always about the best drivers, and getting the rides, and sponsors were, plentiful back then. They were knocking on the team owners' doors and saying, we'll sponsor you, but we want you to go out and find the best driver. And nowadays, it's about how much money you can bring to race these things, And,
oh, yeah. Yeah, that
as a driver, but, the economy has changed, and I can see why that is, and it's tough.
Yeah, I used to tell everybody, way back when, the teams got the money, they could shop for the drivers. Now the drivers are having to put an extra notch on their work schedule and trying to drum up dollars so they can go racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I reckon they just want you to make you feel like you used to be back in Friday and Saturday nights when you started out. I don't know. Now, who were you, trying to remember, when you were in the Cup Series, you were driving, was it for Falk you were driving?
Yeah, I ran, when I was full-time in the old Busch Series, which is now the Xfinity Series, I ran for Robert Yates Racing, full-time in 96 Financial Car. I actually ran 2 Cup races for them that year in a 96 Financial Car, Cup car. And when I ran full-time or almost full-time in 2012, when we won Rookie of the Year, that was with Joe Falk Racing in 33 seats.
Yeah, because Joe Falk's local to us here, and I was pretty sure I remembered that's what you were driving back then. But I forget, didn't he doing something else, Landon Castle, I think, or something like that?
I'm not sure.
Him and the 33.
Yeah, Landon Castle's currently driving them some of the time,
Yeah.
part-time. I think he goes back and forth between the 40 Cup car and the 33 team.
Yeah, and I think somebody else is doing the 33 car every once in a while, I think, with Childress Racing, I think.
Yeah, Brian Scott drives the 33 and a handful of races this year, based out of Childress' stable.
There you go. But, so now the series you're running in now, is that sort of like a late model division type?
Yeah, it's a super late model series. There's actually a late model stock series also. There's 2 series in it that we run together each week. And there's some good drivers in there. A lot of guys I grew up racing with, and some I even race NASCAR with. Like I said, there's Faye Rogers and Stephen Wallace and a bunch of other guys. Even a couple of the NASCAR guys came down and ran with us. Chase Elliott came and ran with us at Hickory. There's a lot of big names that come and run with us, and it's a good series. It reminds me of what I raced growing up. You know, I probably never had more fun than I did growing up racing the ASA when we won the championship and won a bunch of races and had fun doing that. And, you know, short track racing is what I grew up doing and what I love doing, and it's kind of nice to get back to that a little bit.
Cool. Now, let's see. Do you have anything close to that you've got something going on to get you climbing back up into the top 3?
Yeah, we've got opportunities in the works. My father recently started a new integrated company down in Florida called Hard Rock Energy, and it is being sold right now in, I believe, 9 or 10 states, and it's expanding rapidly. That is potentially going to be a sponsorship for us, hopefully before long. Currently, I'm sponsored by Janneke and the Cars Racing Tour, and I know they're very excited about that, as we are to have them as a sponsor, and I believe they're looking forward to doing something again with us next year in the series. And you know, I've been branching out to other teams in NASCAR, trying to, you know, possibly get a ride somewhere else for now. But again, it's just all about the sponsor dollars, man. And it's tough nowadays to bring sponsors to NASCAR because, you know, I think the criteria for a sponsor in NASCAR has changed quite a bit. I think, you know, 20, 15 years ago, sponsors were so driven to be in NASCAR because of TV coverage. What gave them back in sponsor dollars. But I think now, you know, the price of NASCAR, obviously, like everything else has, because the economy has gone up, the sponsors that can afford to race don't really need that TV coverage to promote their brand. Because the sponsors that can afford to race
Hang on, Grant.
do their own branching out. And nowadays, it's about business to business off the racetrack.
Yeah.
You can get, you know, the sponsors nowadays really don't have an opinion on what's on the race car as long as you can give them business away from the racetrack.
Yeah.
And I think that criteria has changed so much that it's really made it's a whole new system now going out and trying to find a sponsorship.
Yeah, I think because they're putting the money in there, they're wanting more out of the drivers, whether it's to have a car someplace around the racetrack or having the drivers actually go out and shake hands with Joe Blow. It's just more driven. They're wanting to get more return on their investment. I mean, just like any business, they're putting money into something. They want to get more back than what they used to get, and so I reckon that's what's driving that up for you guys.
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot, and but you know, this is my dream. It's all I've ever done since I was a little kid. It's all I've ever wanted to do, and I'm going to continue to push as hard as I can for it. I know my family wants it as much as I do for myself, and you know, and I still have a lot more to prove. I mean, I did win a race back in 2007 in the second tier series, and you know, I'm looking to expand on that and show that you know, I have what it takes, and then just got to get back in the seat first to be able to do that.
Now, where are you, the series you're racing in now? Where does it mostly take you? North Carolina or up and down the East Coast, or what now?
Pretty much up and down the East Coast. We've been to places like Hickory Speedway, Motor Mile, which we just ran last Saturday. A lot of, you know, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, basically all over the East Coast. And I believe we go to Myrtle. I think we have Concord coming up and Myrtle Beach, and I believe Hickory is the final race of the season. And you know, we've had some strong runs this year with Lee Falk Racing and there's Janneke Chevrolet. We've been really fast at places, just have not had much luck this year. You know, fourth race of the year was at Hickory Speedway. We sat on the pole, had a really good race car. We're leading laps there in the beginning of the race, and last 3 seconds of the race, early on in the race, I think 30 or 40 laps into the race, we had the left front tires start going down, and then our MSD box broke on us.
Ooh.
So we had to end up pulling out of that one. And then Tri-County Speedway, the following race, really fast in practice, had a great qualifying run going, and it started raining on us. And it rained out qualifying, so we had to start by points. And 20 laps in that race, we blew a rear end. So we haven't had much luck this year in our week-to-week races that we've been in, but we're hoping that changes here before long.
Now, do you run any regular late model races when you're not running the series?
No, so far it's just been a race a month for me. Whatever the schedule is for Cars Racing Tour. I've been reaching out to everyone trying to find a ride and anything I can get in. I love racing and I love to do it. And just again, it's all about the sponsors.
Yeah, in what is it? I think not this Saturday, but next Saturday, Langley Speedway is having a Hampton Heat race, and it's supposed to be a really big purse on that. So I didn't know if that was something you might try to come up and race in Virginia.
I would love to race anywhere, anytime. Any team owners out there that would love to have me, I will be there in a heartbeat. I reach out as much as I can. It's just hard to find rides nowadays.
Oh, cool. Well, go ahead and do another shout out with your sponsors, and we're going to let you get back to doing your stuff. And hopefully, God willing, you're going to get yourself some stuff going on and get back into where you need to be.
I appreciate it. Yeah, shout out to Levine Racing, who I now drive for in the Cars Racing Tour. They do a great job for me, and they work very hard. And thank you to Janet King Cleaning Services for sponsoring us. And a shout out to the Cars Racing Tour that puts on a great show every week, and they work very hard to keep that series professional and keep everything fair for everyone. And it's a good series to be in, and I look forward to doing the rest of them.
All right. Sounds good. I'm also going to get back with you later on off the air about some potential stuff for you, too, that we're working on.
I really appreciate it, bud.
All right. Have yourself a good night, and we'll catch you again next time.
Sounds good, bud. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye. How you doing tonight, Grant?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
We're talking racing. That's what we like to do. What about you?
Yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with that.
We were talking to a friend of yours earlier tonight.
Oh, really?
Yes. He actually has your crew chief from about a year or two ago.
Oh, yeah? And who is that?
David Levine.
Okay, yeah. Yep, those are good people over there. So, Clear Motorsports and everybody over there at San Tram, they're doing a good job this year.
He was telling us you guys have a pretty good, not a really competitive rivalry, but a fun one, apparently, which is always good to have.
Yeah, no, they've been doing great this year. So, for any team like that, they've really come to their own there, and they seem to be running more and more competitive every week. So they're doing good.
Well, go ahead and do a quick shout out and let people know who you are, where you came from, and how you got to where you are now, if you could.
Yeah, I'm originally from South Alabama.
And
I grew up there my whole life. And,
his name is Grant Enfinger, by the way, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, started running go-karts and legends cars and late models down there. The day after I graduated college, I moved up to North Carolina. Just been somewhat doing stuff the hard way. Started working for some teams and just getting my foot in the door any way I can, and started running some starting park stuff for some guys, and able to work it into an opportunity to run a couple ARCA races, and it tried to continue progressing each and every week. Had some really good opportunities, and none better than the team I'm with right now with GMS Racing. So it's definitely an awesome opportunity. It's incredible equipment. We got all the people and resources to get the job done, and we've shown we can do it. So we've gotten the year off to a good start, and we've had a few wins here, and we've had some solid finishes as of late. So just need to continue through the ARCA season, and we got 9 more races to go. I definitely think we got a shot at the championship, and really everything is going picture perfect right now at GMS Racing.
Cool.
All right, hey Grant, it's Collin, a local legend car driver here in Virginia. What do you feel like you need to do to break through to the next level of racing?
You know, I mean, obviously the biggest part of that is sponsorship. I feel like we've been able to prove ourselves on the track in ARCA series and continue to do that, hopefully. But you know, the GMS Racing has a couple really good full-time trucks that I stare at every day, and they're the guys running them, Spencer Gallagher and Brandon Jones. They've done a heck of a job this year. You know, hopefully it's able to progress into that series. You know, it kind of be a natural just being there with GMS Racing. So hopefully that's something we can look forward to in the future. You know, but I've been racing long enough. I've been doing this for a long time now. Man, there's a lot of times when you try to look forward, but I'm really appreciating where I'm at right now. Like I said, it's definitely by far the best opportunity I've had as far as my career goes, and everybody from the top to the bottom at GMS Racing is good quality people, and I learn stuff every day. It's like I said, it's unlike any place I've had the opportunity to work before, and just like I said, been very happy to be part of it. You know, in the shop, seeing everything progress from last year to this year, and as well, you know, being able to be behind the seat. You know, the past year in this ARCA car is definitely been a blessing for me.
Now, doesn't GMS have some trucks?
Yes, that's what I was saying. We
that's right.
We have 2 full-time trucks. You know, like I said, the whole truck program is really taking shape really nicely. There's a lot of changes made this winter. Brandon Jones finished his career best second a couple weeks ago at Iowa, which is the place we're going this week in the ARCA car. And Spencer Gallagher had a second place finish a few weeks ago in Gateway.
Yeah.
So man, the truck program's knocking on the door for wins, and like I said, hopefully I get the opportunity to one day step in one of those for GMS Racing. Like I said, I'm definitely not losing focus of where we're at right now and the opportunity that I got right in front of me with trying for the championship with what I feel like is the strongest team out there this year.
You need to go over to Spencer and say, okay, Spencer, you need to take a weekend break. Let me show you what I can do and see if that works.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's been a huge part of everything that goes on in GMS Racing, and he was a huge part of me coming over here last year. So, man, his hats off to him. I definitely owe him a lot for the opportunity over here, and he actually took a step back in a few ARCA races last year to give us this opportunity that we got now. So, man, he's definitely been progressing a lot in the truck series. He's and they've been strong quite a few times this year. So, like I said, the whole truck program is a whole at GMS Racing. It's really knocking on the door. So hopefully we can get that first win, this year.
Yeah. But you can tell Spencer I said to let him step aside and you can go in, okay?
I'll definitely tell him you said that.
See if that works any. But hey, it never hurts to try. So, do you take and do any work with any of the charities out there?
You know, we have, me personally, growing up, we did a lot with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. GMS Racing as a whole. Does some stuff with Make-A-Wish. Really, any time there's an opportunity to help and give back. Myself, Spencer Gallagher, Brandon Jones, anybody at GMS Racing is definitely willing to do that. So we're going to charities and donating sheet metal and stuff like that. So we when there's opportunity, we try to get back. And if there's any charities out there, if they contact GMS Racing, they'd be sure to get back to you.
Cool. What was I going to ask? Doggone it. Having a brain fart. That's what happens when you get older. You're looking forward for that, right?
Exactly.
Let's see. Now, does the ARCA race at all in Virginia at all? I was trying to remember if they did or not.
No, we don't race in the state of Virginia. We're, honestly, 90% of the teams, it seems like, are headquartered out of the Charlotte area. But we don't really race very close to here. Talladega is about the shortest drive we got, which is about 6.5 hours from like I said, where most of the racing teams are based out of. So we get we get to Nashville, we get up to Ohio, we race in Toledo. We'll run really all over the place, but nowhere really close to where all of us are headquartered. So our next few races coming up are Iowa, which I don't think that's close to anybody. And we got Indy after that, Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis. So really looking forward to that one as well. And then Pocono, we go back there in 3 weeks, which we're coming off a second place finish there in the June race. And then we go to Berlin, Michigan after that. So we're kind of all over the board with a good mix of short tracks and intermediate tracks. And after that, the series takes a week or two off, and then we go to the dirt tracks in Illinois. So it's pretty cool. The ARCA series is really always stayed true to the roots. And we got a mix of a road course in there. We got a New Jersey, but we also go to the Springfield Mile and the DuQuoin Mile, which is a mile long, basically a horse track, but it's mile long flat. It's really a cool experience. And something ARCA series has always done, and really it's kind of cool to see the NASCAR guys kind of follow on suit a little bit and get back to their roots with the truck series going back to Eldora next week.
Now, do you ever travel with them whenever they go to a truck race or something with Spencer and Brandon?
I did last year some. I tried to help there with whenever Spencer was racing. Also a few times there when Max Gresham was in the truck. But it's just a matter of how the schedules worked out this year. We haven't. We've honestly been playing catch up some in the shop as far as the ARCA program, as far as getting cars prepared and stuff like that. But I definitely hope to more towards the end of the year. Our season winds down in October, so definitely plan on doing some more towards the end of the year.
Well, cool. Maybe you can go out there to Martinsville and I can catch up with you and give you a hard time there.
Yes, absolutely. It should be in Martinsville.
Go introduce you to a good steakhouse.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
All right. Let's see. Any other good news you got going for us here, or something you want to promote on there?
That's really the biggest thing is chasing this championship in the ARCA series, and definitely got to send a huge thank you to all our supporters, and first of all, everybody at GMS Racing for this opportunity. But Allegiant Travel, Alamo Rental Car, Worth USA, Triple K Construction, Portable Shade, Uncle Jim's Big Jerky, based out of Michigan, like I said, where we're going here in a few weeks. But man, we just got a ton of guys that have gotten behind this deal and allowed us to run for this championship, and can't say thank you enough. So this is going to my third full season in Aussie Series, so hopefully third time's a charm for us in this championship.
Now, I didn't get a chance to check on you this time. Where are you at in the points this time?
We're leading the points right now. We're
good deal.
We don't have the cushion we want. Everybody's there's a ton of strong competitors out there. But the one thing we got going for us is we're bringing really fast race cars to the track each and every week. So what we got to do is continue to do that, and hopefully we can put together 9 more solid finishes to finish out this year.
Now, see, Fox Sports 1 is going to be covering you guys out there.
Yes, that'll be us Friday evening on Fox Sports 1. So hopefully all the listeners can tune in there. We should have a good car there. Iowa has been good to me in the past. I was fortunate enough to be able to win the last ARCA race there. So hopefully we can pull off another one this Friday night.
Cool. We'll be waving to you from the other side of the TV, okay?
That sounds great.
I need to introduce you to a friend of mine one day. I can't tell you who it is right now, but I'll have to tell you off to the side, and have him follow you around one day at the racetrack. You'll get lots of attention.
That sounds good.
But anywho, all right. Let's see. Any other questions you might have for him?
I got one more question. What track do you like that ARCA runs at, and which best fits your driving style?
You know, the one I get most excited about each and every year, I guess, is Mobile. We've been fortunate enough the series has been there the last 4 years, and I've been able to make all those races. So that's where I'm from, and you know, all these ARCA races are so far away from, you know, the family and friends that I grew up with, the guys that helped me start racing. You know, those guys all come to that race, so it's really, really special to me. We've been fortunate enough to win that race the last 3 times out. So, and that's the one I circled on the calendar at the beginning of the year, and it's the one we put a lot of effort into. So, but the fact of this series is so diverse, and we go to so many different tracks. There's a lot of really, really cool ones out there. So, and this weekend at Iowa, this is one of my favorite tracks as well. So, we got a lot of really cool places. Some of these tracks maybe were not as cool to begin with, but definitely learned to appreciate them, and there's something you take away from each and every one. So I'm definitely one of the most fortunate people out there, I feel like, as far as how many tracks I've been able to go through in my career. So it's definitely counts my blessings in my life.
Cool. I'm going to ask you a question I asked David earlier. Now, if a fan were to come up to you and to get an autograph from you, what would they need to say or do that would make you be able to remember them the next year you came out to the same track?
I don't really know. To be honest with you, if it's on the racetrack before a race, I don't know if it could do anything that make me remember. I'm so focused at those times that it's, you know, it's really, that's our whole mindset. The reason we work, you know, the hours we work and stay up all night to build these race cars to go out there and win these races. So I'm really, really focused at that time. But if there's other times, you know, maybe they don't have to do something so crazy. It's an autograph session, you know, away from the track or something like that. But I will tell you all a quick little story. I was in Las Vegas a few years ago. Had the opportunity to run a truck there, and we were doing an autograph session. I was sitting next to Ponzo Dime, and a lady put up on the table where we were all signing autographs and asked Ponzo Dime to sign her calf. And you know, I thought that was kind of interesting, but when I looked there, she had a tattoo picture of Ponzo Dime's face on her leg, and giving him the autograph, and so she could go get the autograph inked in as well. And she had Brandon going on the other side. So, you know, there's extreme situations and stuff like that you really just can't help it. They take that home with you.
I have personally seen girls come up and partially bare their breast and ask to get their boobs signed. Okay, seen it, watched it. Dale Earnhardt Sr. actually, I was chatting with him afterwards. I actually called him an asshole, and he just sort of laughed and said, "Don't you love it?" You know what it was. He knew me because my chassis man when I was racing used to be his chassis man, and he was walking toward me. I had something for him to autograph, and as he got to me, he sidestepped me, and I had this real quizzical look on my face till I turned around and saw there was 3 Hooters girls waiting right behind me to get their breasts signed. So that's when after it was done.
There's worse things out there, I guess.
Yeah, oh yeah. But we'll leave the rest of that alone. But anyway, let me go ahead and let you get going. I appreciate you calling in, Grant. I know I didn't give you a lot of heads up on that, but somebody was supposed to be calling in and they texted me and said they weren't going to be able to make it. And I know how much we love to have you on here and love talking to you.
All right, well, thank y'all again for having me on the show. And like I said, thanks to all our supporters. And check us out, myself as well as EMS Racing on their Twitter and Facebook as well, please. Good
deal. All right, we'll catch you again. Hopefully you can come out and be at Martinsville for the truck race, and I can give you a hard time there.
Yep, I'm planning on it. Thank you.
All right, talk to you later. But yeah, He turned around with a big ass grin on his face. I said, "You're an asshole." He says, "Yeah, don't you love it?" I said, "You turd." Then we did a little more talking, but it's all fun when you get to know some of these guys. We had somebody that was talking about calling in, but anywho, so you're not racing this weekend?
No, not this weekend.
Sucks.
It does. I was really excited about racing last Friday, and then we got a big rainstorm, and that kind of just ruined everything.
And I think legend cars are at Langley this weekend too. So.
Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna make that.
No.
We're not gonna end up making that one.
Why not?
Car's up in Shenandoah Valley now. My car keeps moving.
Oh, jeez. Isn't it supposed to stay with the driver?
You would think.
I mean,
I don't know what I'm
here,
doing.
and it's way up the hell up here.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing working on it, so I just know that I can get in the car and go.
Yeah, but I thought they weren't going to race last Saturday at Langley.
That's what I thought too.
I hate to say this, I was out there and it was raining and we were watching radar and everything. I was helping out with some projects at the track with the computer stuff, and they were talking about having a meeting at 4:30, and then they said, well, we're going to extend out till such and such time before we decide, and it didn't look good, and I had some things I had to do, so I went home, and I never even tuned in even on the
Fans Choice
TV to even watch it. So next thing you know, Danny Edwards won twice, and I didn't even know. So I just happened to look up Langley Speedway like yesterday or something and noticed that he had won.
I think they ran that race really late too, like 11 o'clock or something, didn't they?
No, well, they didn't get done until what, 2?
What, the first late model race?
No, I mean the whole night.
Oh, the whole night.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, because I think they
They're
started
not
like
afraid
around.
to run them late.
Well, they started about 10.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a curfew like other tracks do. So.
Yeah.
For what fans will show up, they're still hungry and thirsty. So the longer it takes to get started, the more they sell.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if some of the fans don't think they're going to race, they're going to show up at all.
Well, this is true.
So, I haven't talked to Chuck or any of those guys to find out how the turnout was as far as people wise. I know there was a lot of conversation in the office about all the different things to weigh out on that stuff, and they were talking with Bill Nollis as well. So,
yeah,
it was one of the things. You had the pros and cons and everything.
Yeah.
You get the drivers there.
Yeah, the drivers
You
are
hate
already
for
there.
them to waste their day.
And it would have
You
been.
want to put on the show if you can.
It would have been a third rain out in a row.
Oh, what? Oh, really?
So that's what I think they want to get around. So just like they waited real late the other night to race the, was it the Cup Series? Just waited till you got a window and go and do it. You missed that night, and if you fell asleep before the end of the race with Austin Dillon going flying through the air, then you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did. I think it was 20 laps.
It wasn't like you
after I
missed
fell
it
asleep.
because every network showed it over and over.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
YouTube, you name it, it was on there.
If you didn't see it live, you definitely got to see it somehow or another.
Yeah.
I like how NBC shows their races the next day.
Yeah. That's what I've noticed over the time they've been doing that. They're one of the few that will take and redo it next day because people may have to work at night. And
Yeah.
middle of the day, it gives you an excuse to take a long lunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't know nothing about those.
Oh, okay.
Anywho, so what else are you going to be racing the next?
Probably in another Southside. Probably my next race will be another Southside race.
What will that be? Come on, you got to be.
I want to say the end of the month. Probably the end of the month.
If you're here, we're going to quiz you.
Mm-hmm.
At least I will. It's past 8:01.
Yeah,
Okay, Al's not here, so you're in trouble now. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're in my neck of the woods, buddy. But anywho,
So, next time Danica is introduced before the race, will there be any fallout from Colonel and Spat with Junior?
Probably.
yeah,
Or do they people just let it go? I mean, they're in New Hampshire this week, so race fans, maybe not Junior's, what he would consider a home track for
Right,
Junior. I wonder how her reception might be down in Alabama maybe the next time.
they might be cheering her.
Well, yeah, the New Hampshire people may actually cheer for her on that one, but
Now
she may
here's
catch a few extra boos.
a bone of contention. you know your brakes are screwed up in your car. Granted, you come in, you do a pit stop, and they're trying to bleed it, trying to make it work better. When do you decide that this could be really bad? You know, if just like with Danica, she went to slow down. He hit her because he couldn't stop. And what would happen if
Junior said that he pumped his brakes 3 times and he stuck to the floor.
3 times and went down to the floor. I mean, hey.
I think they were intermittent at different times during the race. I think he had some brake, and then other times he had no brake at all.
So, but the thing is, the question is in my mind, when are you going to say, okay, this is not really safe for me? If somebody crashes in front of me and I go to pump the brake 3 times and there is nothing happens, I'm going to be slamming in that car at full speed.
Kind of like the Carl Edwards incident.
I guess
Daytona.
I guess the pressure is that you have to perform for your sponsors and for points and for everything else. So you have to stay out there until you destroy your car. Basically, you got to stay out there until you destroy your car.
Do like some of the wounded warriors do, as I call it. Your car's damaged enough, you can't maintain full race speed safely. Drop down to the low line. Stay down low.
Yeah, stay at the bottom.
And complete your laps. But don't be putting yourself out there and yourself in harm's way and somebody else in harm's way.
I wonder if they could have shifted, done anything in terms of their shifting to.
You could downshift.
At the speeds they're going, they can't go from
you're gonna
fourth to third to try to catch a break. You know,
only if you're set with your transmission like you'd have it at Pocono.
Yeah.
That's the only way you'd be able to do it because those are closely geared there. But trying to downshift from forward to third, one of 2 things is going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to blow it.
You're either going to blow the engine or your tires are just going
to
your tires are just going to try to lock up and wheel hop and who knows what will happen.
I mean, if you get an opportunity to slow yourself down by hitting a car like Danica, I don't see what's wrong with that.
Yeah.
She's kind of a speed bump anyway in most races.
Yeah, but
I mean, she may not like it that way, but I think most of the guys.
Her boyfriend may have something to say about somebody thumping on her backside. Okay.
I don't think anybody's worried about her mullet wearing little boyfriend.
He got rid of that though, Ricky did.
Yeah. He couldn't get anybody to join in.
He got rid of that one.
Bring the mullet club back, you know. So.
Him and Kyle Petty.
Yeah.
But
I think Danica's frustrations are just a lot of it probably because she gets used as a speed bump a lot of races, and she's probably thought she had a better relationship with Junior than that, so she was a little irritated that even he was treating her that way.
It's just totally hosed up, that whole thing. You know,
you gave that same car with no brakes to Dale Sr., he might have won the freaking race. So who knows? You know, you just do what you got. Go with what you got, and
I mean, I don't know. I've lost brakes in a car, and I don't feel comfortable. But I mean, granted, in Langley, I can downshift there. But I don't know. I would feel really uncomfortable if something happened to somebody and I couldn't stop in time and hit them.
Oh yeah.
And
kind of like the Austin Dillon incident.
Well, he had already scraped the wall earlier in the night, and then he ran in the back of her, and he was already saying, "I don't know what the hell we're doing out here," you know. So I guess, you know, who knows who's going to be the one, whether it's Junior or the crew chief or who.
Well,
to say, why don't we cut our losses and, like you're saying, drop to the bottom and run safe laps versus getting up here in everybody's way.
I mean, the alternative would have been to go into the garage, put it up on 4 jacks, and bleed all the brakes at once. And that way, could have got it back working and get back out there. Yeah. Granted, you'd probably be a couple of laps down, probably 3 or 4, maybe 5, 6, whatever. But you'd be safe. You wouldn't be the potential of a big accident or somebody actually getting really hit bad. Can you imagine if Austin Dillon and if Junior had been behind him and went to hit the brakes after he was already upside down, and instead of Brad Keselowski sliding sideways into him and then hit him head on the driver's side?
Well, all right. Well, so here's another question, and this could have been just gearing the car down.
Granted, this is all hypothetical, worst case scenario.
This is gearing the car down, but coming onto pit road, Danica's still mad. She bumps into Junior from behind, and then he swerves at her a little bit coming in. But how did his brakes work then?
I know,
You know what I'm saying? How did he get down to pit road speed, and how did he hit his pit stall and stop it? So,
Well, I mean, granted, he could be downshifting there too.
that's what I'm saying. So maybe that came as part of just downshifting. But anyway, it's just fun. It's fun to catch a little rivalry, and anytime something happens with Danica, it's going to get attention. You know. So
does Kyle have a shot?
Other than that, it would have been.
I think Kyle. I mean, now was he got to finish what?
He's still got to finish in
at least 16th or better, right?
Was it 16th or better? I thought it was like
13th
18th or 19th.
Oh, I don't know.
But that was before the race.
Oh, it must be like.
Is that how it is?
Now with the win,
okay.
he's got a whole ton of points that got thrown there. He's only like 80 points out now.
Okay, all right.
So you're talking.
He's close now. So.
All right. Well, and New Hampshire might be a good track round.
So I mean, I'm thinking like 20th or better for the next bunch of races.
Yeah.
Give you something to do now on the way home or on the way.
Yeah.
Speaking thereof, let's get out of here.
All right,
let's do it.
We'd be hungry. We'd be acting like Al now, just 30 minutes later. Or something like that. Oh, only 15 minutes later. All right. We'll catch everybody on the show next week, theoretically. That's how my surgery goes on Monday.
Oh, I forget about that. Yeah.
Yep, do that next surgery thing. I'll be in here naked.
So we'll put you on camera so everybody will feel sorry.
Yeah.
Here's Roger.
Been there, done that. Anyway, we'll catch everybody next week on Let's Talk Racing. See ya! You don't feel like saying bye?
See you next week.
Boy, that's really delayed.